Not the best night for pitching. Let's step into the on deck circle.
You're listening to the DFS On Deck podcast, brought to you by LineStar App, the top-rated DFS tool set and #1 companion for DraftKings, Fanduel, and Yahoo Daily Fantasy. Go LineStar Premium now at LineStarApp.com. Now, here are your hosts, fantasy baseball experts Joe Pisapia and KC Bubba.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and welcome to On Deck right here on the LineStar app. It is me, it is Casey Bubba, and it's you, and we're talking all things MLB DFS. And Bubba, last night, obviously the NFL kicked off, and if you haven't already listened, make sure you do, because the NFL version of this show was out yesterday. It'll be all over the place today, iTunes, iHeart, everywhere, Stitcher, Google, anywhere you get your podcast, you can listen to the pre-snap show. But while I was watching football, it looks like everybody in Major League Baseball last night forgot how to pitch for the most part, and it was a wacky evening in the major leagues in another sport. So, Bubba, it was a rough one out there on the mound for a lot of people yesterday.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. That's it's the opposite of the Larry David pretty good. It was bad, and Dustin May goes 1 inning. You have Paddock go 2 innings. Alcantar's defense lets him down. Sonny Gray gets blown up. Just go down the list of things that could go wrong that went wrong. It was pretty impressive across the diamond, to say the least.
Yeah, Sonny Gray started off good, then kind of went south there. It just, the whole thing. Dustin May, it's the good news is we steered you away from Dustin May, from Chris Paddock. So that was good. But still, the rest of the slate, kind of a continuous weird thing, just like, Major League Baseball, we all knew was going to be strange. But I guess, we're getting to those weird dog days now where things are getting on the wackier side, I guess. I guess it doesn't matter. End of the season, I guess. At this point.
60-game season, 162-game season. Nobody cares. They're just going to say it's September. Let's get crazy.
Yeah, pretty much. And obviously, like we told everybody yesterday, too, this weekend, pay close attention. There'll be a lot more people playing DFS that don't usually do it. They're going to see some baseball stuff. They're going to want to play that, too. Don't worry too much about that now. It's Friday, so we're very busy. We got a lot to do today in terms of getting to the slate. So we're just going to kind of, we'll recap some of the, the highlights of yesterday. We won't go through every game because there's a lot of other stuff to get to today for the slate. But I also want to remind everybody that we are going to be releasing the wagering show today, too, for NFL. So if you are looking for some NFL discussion and trying to get on that, we are going to be there. Scott Bogdan and myself. Again, that's the pre-snap show. So yesterday was the DFS show for NFL. Today's the wagering show. So keep an eye and an ear out for that link. Again, it's everywhere you get your podcast. It's where you listen to this podcast. So it should be very easy to do. Wilson Contreras went 4 for 4 yesterday with 2 runs scored in the Cubs 8-5 win over the Reds. Jesse Winker, by the way, left yesterday's game with back tightness, so let's keep an eye on that. Just going to go through some news and notes here. So Gray allowed 5 runs in that same game there with the Reds, 6 hits over 3 1/3. So, Bubba, we were talking about him like having that extra time, getting right. Didn't look like he was getting right.
No, he didn't. And at first he did because he threw a 2 or 3 just really good innings. You're like, okay, this looks like the Sonny Gray of old. He's getting strikeouts, doing his thing. And then boom goes the dynamite. And it just went downhill from there. And it's just like, yep, he's still having some issues somewhere. Maybe he's tipping pitches. I don't know.
Yeah. Madison Bumgarner gave up 7 hits and walked 2, but only allowed 2 runs, but still got no decision there. His ERA is at 7.52, by the way. So how about that? Mitch Marlon hit a 2-run double in that Padres win we were talking about earlier. So I want to see what he can do here with some playing time in the new spot. I know it's only, he's hitting just like under 200 since being dealt, but give the guy a little bit of time. It's tough. You're going from Boston to San Diego. It's so relaxing. He's just a little relaxed right now. Don't you think, Bubba?
Yeah, and it kind of stinks. You get this nice oceanfront view probably. You can't go anywhere because California is locked down central. So he's like, well, this kind of stinks. They're just like taunting me with things and I can't go anywhere.
Yeah, well, you also have to check that off the bingo card for 2020 because you have the fires in California. Oh, where I am in New Jersey, we had an earthquake this week.
That is insane that you guys get earthquakes back there. My goodness.
Yeah, like where my parents live, they had the earthquake. And I remember as a teenager, we had it too. So that was on my bingo card, earthquakes for 2020 in New Jersey. Manny Machado It is 13th home run of the season in the win over the Giants on Thursday as well. Wilmer Flores also went yard in that same game. So Wilmer Flores continuing to be pretty productive there, Bubba. It's kind of amazing when you sit back and think about Wilmer Flores just continuing to chug along here and being a useful DFS guy. I don't know if it lasts like 4 years. Somehow he's been able to do that.
It's been crazy. Like he's hitting righties, lefties. It doesn't matter. You can't just say he's in there as a platoon player. He's hitting over 300. The Giants, like if you get for a season long, like 2-second angle here, they have a lot of viable options, which is just insane to think about right now.
Dustin May was diagnosed, by the way, with a left foot contusion leaving Thursday's start.
Okay.
So,
there we go.
yeah, so there you go. So it wasn't so much he was bad as much as he got hit, and that was the issue on that one. Alcantara surrendered 6 runs, 3 earned. The defense was not his friend here in this one. Jake Arrieta somehow pitched 5 2/3 innings. Once again, like that's the kind of night it was, folks. When Jake Arrieta throws 5 2/3 of good innings of baseball, that's what you have. Freddie Freeman hit his 9th and 10th home runs of the year on Thursday to help the Braves edge the Nats 7-6. The Nats continue to spiral. So there you have it. That was your day that was in Major League Baseball. But today's a new day. Yes, it is. So let's start after it. It is Friday. Let's have a fun Friday. And let's start with the 6 o'clock game here. Josh Tomlin against Eric Feedy. Usual suspects here, obviously, in play. Let's talk about the Fanduel pricing first for these guys. Acuna's at 4.4, Freddie Freeman at 4.1, hitting in that 2 spot. Austin Riley's and Adam Duvall at 2.7 and 2.8, respectively. And Albies could be in the 9 spot today in the lineup at 2.5 again. So, would you consider going with Albies in the 9 spot at 2.5 and then Acuna Freeman?
I would absolutely love that. The wraparound stack doesn't get used enough. It's extreme value with Albies. Second game back, had obviously a great game in the 29-run game the other day. So I think it's a really, really good spot to go back to him at his value while it's there, because we know for a fact, Joe, a couple more games of him hitting, he's going to be back up to his normal around 3K plus range, and you're not going to have this luxury anymore. So take advantage of that versus Fetty. Like you said, usual suspects in play on both sides of this diamond. And one thing I will mention for everybody, the main slates on both sites start at 8:05 today instead of 7:05. So these 6 Eastern games are FanDuel only.
Yes. So there you have that. But yeah, like I said, it's very, very bizarre here. So we'll start talking about DK when we get to the 8 o'clock games, which the first one there, that's the Pirates and Royals, if I'm seeing this correctly. Correct, Bubba?
Yes, that's 100% correct.
All right. I love 100%. See, I can't get more correct than that. 100% correct. Juan Soto at 4.6K in this one on FanDuel. So once again, if you like Juan Soto, you can always do that. The rest of the Nats right now, I don't know. You can have them. It's just, Trey Turner's been good.
Trey Turner, yeah.
Yeah, it's Turner and Soto, and then the Nats just disappoint. And you know what? Yeah. I gotta say, that Strasburg injury, it just crushed them. I didn't think it was going to crush them as hard as it did, but it really has. And the offense hasn't helped. And you know what? They did not do enough to replace Anthony Rendon. They really should have been a little bit more aggressive there, and not necessarily at third base. I'm still all for letting Carter Keyboom play and get his feet wet in the major leagues, but they had lots of other opportunities to replace the offense they left at first base. He could have gotten somebody else there instead of, they've got a mishmash of veteran guys hanging on, and that's just not going to do it. You do have Jacob deGrom on the mound tonight over on FanDuel at 637, 11.2K for him against Chase Anderson. This one's in Buffalo. Do you think any of the roster percentage is going to be suppressed tonight because of the location of the game? And if so, does that make him even more appealing?
I think he's very appealing in this game because essentially he's going to Coors East, which changes things quite a bit. So I think it's very appealing. We know deGrom is basically as consistently awesome or dominant or whatever words you want to use as there is. So I think it's a great spot. We love the Blue Jays bats. We do a ton, but there's still a lot of swing and miss there, and deGrom can take advantage of that. I wouldn't play him in cash just for the volatility that is Coors East, but GPP definitely low ownership play.
You also have McNeil still at 2.8 in this lineup. JD Davis in a 3-hole at 2.6. So, and they're taking on a righty tonight too. So of course you got Conforto at 3.2, Dom Smith at 3.4. There's some pretty good plays in here. I think the Mets in this ballpark here with deGrom is actually an interesting tournament play, which is funny because we never say tournament and deGrom usually in the same sentence because of his price. And the price is still very high, but it's about today. It's like you're getting a high end guy with a low ownership percentage because of the location. I think people will get scared off, and if you're going to go down with the ship, deGrom's the one to go down with. I mean, Doesn't get much better than that. You look at the ERA, it's under 2. I mean, the guy's just phenomenal. And of course, he's got like 2 wins on the season, right? Like, how many wins does he have? 3. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, they can't score any runs for this guy. So hopefully that'll change here for the Blue Jays, against the Blue Jays tonight. By the way, also Bo Bichette starting to work his way back too. So keep an eye out for that. I don't know if he's going to come back this weekend, but that seems to be working its way back. So whenever he gets back in that lineup, you get him back in yours. Andrew Triggs in the Red Sox will take on Blake Snell in the Rays. Are you fading all the Red Sox bats today in this one against Blake Snell, or are you going to take some shots with some of those righties like JD and Xander?
I'll probably just fade. Snell hasn't been as dominant, but he's been good. There's other places I'd rather take my chances tonight than gamble against a very good arm like Blake Snell.
Brandon Lau's price has dropped down to 3.3. Austin Meadows at 2.8. So those are 2 guys at the top of this order I think can go in for. Garrett Cole will be starting today, but that's not going to be on the slate because they got bumped from yesterday. Is that what I'm seeing here?
Yeah, they had a rain out, so there's a double header today.
It was the rain out yesterday, right?
Slate. Yep.
But you can't play him, so because it was yesterday. So very tricky. And it's funny because yesterday we liked Cole so much going into the game. And that was the tricky part. So we like Cole because it was, he hasn't been great. It's a great matchup. Let's go in. Let's do this. And we didn't even get to do that yesterday. We could have really used it yesterday on the slate as well. And it's the thing, I'm looking back at yesterday. I'm thinking to myself, what else? And I was caught up in NFL yesterday. I'll be honest with you folks. I'll be very transparent. It's NFL opening day. Got a lot of stuff going on for NFL right now. But I'm thinking to myself, wait, wasn't there another pitcher we really liked on the slate? No, yeah, it's Garrett Cole. Here it is. That's right, because things got rained out. I should know better. I live here in the East Coast, and we had a lot of rain yesterday. And earthquakes, too, Bubba. By the way, did you hear about the earthquakes?
Oh, man.
Goodness
that is
gracious.
Insane. Earthquakes.
Goodness gracious. All right. Stephen Brault. Yeah, but it's like a 3.1, and that's just like a Tuesday.
Yeah, that doesn't count out here. That we don't even feel that out here, Joe.
I don't know how you folks live like that. I really don't. You're nuts. What are you doing out there?
Fires and earthquakes, 2020.
Like those people in Florida with the hurricanes and the things and the humidity. I'm like, what are you doing? Why do you choose to live like this? This is terrible. Or like Bogman and Welsh in Arizona where it's 147 degrees. What are you doing? It's a dry heat. Dry heat. What are you, crazy? Dry heat. 112 is 112. Anyway,
it's 78 inside their apartment. It's okay.
I guess 78. That's odd. It's 71 degrees in my house at the most. All right. Let's move on here to the 8 o'clock games, and the DK can come and hang out with us. So Stephen Brault, 6K against Bubby. Bubby's on the mound tonight. Chris Bubbick, 6-6 for him. Stephen Brault is 6K. So do you look at some of these bats tonight, considering that neither of these 2 pitchers is too exciting? And are you going to load up on the right-handers you have in here? You got some value at the top with Gonzalez and Merrifield in these 2 lineups. We know Reynolds hasn't been good all year, so I don't want to go down that road. But guy like Hunter Dozier in play today, even though he's 3.8 on DK, but on FanDuel he's just 3.2.
Yeah, I like Dozier. I really like Merrifield. His 4,500 on DK, 33 on FanDuel are very, very nice. You got your boy Maikel Franco. He's only 35 on DK, 29 on FanDuel. Is very, very nice as well. But on the Pirate side of things, Ke'Bryan Hayes is 3K on DK, 27 on FanDuel. He brings great value in tonight's slate. He's been hitting since he got called up a week ago. And he's a guy, if you're looking for savings, I like quite a bit tonight.
All right, we've got Mike Fiers taking on Luis Garcia of the Texas Rangers. So A's and Rangers on this one. This one's in Texas at 8:05. Tommy La Stella at the top of the order for the A's. How about that? What do you think of that, Bubba?
Yeah, it's been pretty wild seeing him up there playing every day, and he's priced up like he's an all-star again. But the A's offense, like we said yesterday, and you nailed it, you play Olsen for the home run. Other than that, they've been really inconsistent. It's a great matchup versus Luis Garcia, though. If you want to attack it, I don't hate it. They've just been so bad that it's been tough to go full stack with them.
Yeah, it's a shame because they were really good to start the year. They were tremendous almost the entire season last year. I'm still kind of in mourning for Marcus Simeon's 2020 because, I didn't think he was going to be the same player he was last year, but I thought he was going to be, he's 85% of it, and he hasn't been. So that's been a huge bummer. And I'm with you, man. This game is not very appealing to me from the offensive side. I would go with the one-off on Olsen at 3.3 on FanDuel. That's a good price for him. Ramon Laureano at 3.1, also maybe even better. Maybe a higher floor if you want to get in on a player like that. If you're looking for another outfielder, that's a good return on investment for a player like that. We got another big pitcher on the mound tonight, Shane Bieber at 11.6. So he's going against the Twins. Not the easiest matchup for sure. So we have DeGrom in Buffalo, and we have Bieber against Minnesota in Minnesota. Which one are you going for? Because one is $500 cheaper than the other, that being DeGrom. Both have some questions in there. One's facing a really good offense. The other is facing a good offense, but an offense in a good hitter-friendly environment. I'm leaning towards DeGrom personally tonight. Take a little bit out of the equation. Bieber deserves all the credit in the world, but do you feel like Bieber is the cash game easy play despite the matchup against the Twins? I mean, he certainly earned that respect, in my opinion.
He's pitched great against them twice already this year. He's pitched great against pretty much everybody. I still would only use him in a GPP. There's a better cash game play coming up here in a bit. But I would use Bieber in GPPs. Honestly, I'd use Kenta Maeda in cash in this game for $2,100 less before I'd use Bieber in cash.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. And Maeda's been pretty good. He's been a quality start guy. At 10.2 on DK, I don't like it. But at 9.5 on FanDuel, I think it's a much better play. It's a little tough tonight to make that work on DK. The Bieber price, by the way, on DK, since we're talking about it, is $11K, which is funny because you're actually $600 cheaper on DraftKings. So it's a little bit more tempting there. You also got Lucas Giolito on the mound tonight at 10.8 against the Detroit Tigers. We're starting to come back down to earth after a very good run. Daz Cameron did come up. He's priced at just 2.1K in this lineup against Giolito. Casey Mize is on the mound on the other side. Mize will probably be limited. He is 6.1K tonight over on FanDuel, 5.7 on DK, which is super cheap. Now, look, the guy's got some talent. The kid definitely has some strikeout upside. But at the same time, this is a really tough out on the road against the White Sox. So I'm going to take a hard pass on Casey Mize. But I think Giolito is, again, another one of these guys. It's a little bit cheaper than the top group if you want to get different, who should absolutely be in play today. What are your thoughts on Giolito and the White Sox?
Yeah, Giolito's the cash guy. I want $700 cheaper than Bieber on FanDuel. And on DK, he's about $700 or $500 cheaper on DK. So I like Giolito a lot more in cash just for the savings, for the much better matchup, pitching at home. Everything you want to check off the cash game pitcher list, that is what Lucas Giolito is tonight. So I'm definitely going him. And Casey Mize, I'll pass on him this evening.
Now, the lineup for the White Sox is very right-handed heavy. Are you going to go into the lineup as well against Casey Mize, or just hoping you get to the bullpen sooner, or are you just going to go Giolito by himself?
More often than not, I'll go Giolito by himself, but I like the White Sox as a way to go outside of Coors. Coors, we're going to get there, and I have some very strong thoughts on that game tonight. But the White Sox are pricey. It's a great pivot because Mize won't go too deep into the game, and you will get that Detroit bullpen.
John Lester against Brandon Woodruff in Milwaukee. Jed Jerko's been hot here. 2.7 for him. Keston Hiura's at 3.7. That's the FanDuel pricing. Ian Happ is still just 3.3. Been hit a little bit of a rougher patch recently. Jason Hayward 2.7, and Javier Baez in the middle of this order at 3K is always a good value. Look, Woodruff has had some great starts and some not so great starts. He's 8.5 on DK tonight, 7.6 on FanDuel. That is a huge savings. Is Woodruff the guy you take a chance on tonight in order to get involved in Coors?
He can be. I won't say he won't be. He's definitely on the table as one of the options I don't mind, especially in the GPP, because he's got that upside. The Cubs' bats have been cold. For those just looking at the stats, though, the last few games, the weather's been very pitching beneficial in Wrigley. So I wouldn't get too worried there. But on the bat side of things,
this one's
attacking
in
Lester,
Milwaukee, and the wind's blowing in tonight in Milwaukee. So
and they might close the roof, too. So we'll see on that one. So that's one thing to look at there in Milwaukee. But hitters-wise, I think Milwaukee's an interesting pivot if you want to keep fading Lester with Hiura, Jericho, and Avisail Garcia. Very, very affordable threesome there.
I know the next one on the slate is the Reds and Cardinals, but let's just jump to Coors just because we're in it right now in our heads. German Marquez is 7.1 against Griffin Canning at 6. So the Angels are going to come into Coors Field here. Marquez is 7.4 on DK. Do you put Marquez in play in Coors tonight? No. Is that what you're doing? Okay, you're going away from that. Is this just to be able to go up to Mike Trout is 5K, by the way, on FanDuel. You don't see a lot of fives when you get to FanDuel pricing very often. Once in a while, the Harper will get there, Trout will get there. You get, Tatis got there at one point. But right now, Trout in Coors is going to cost you 5K in order to do that. And of course, the regular story is the same. Trevor Story is 4.4, Blackman 4.3, Nolan Arenado 4.2. So you're in the normal pricing here. So what's the approach to this game in Coors before we get to the DK prices?
I'm going to attack Griffin Canning. At least on FanDuel, the pricing's more realistic overall. We'll get the DK pricing in a minute, like you said. But on FanDuel, Jared Walsh is $2,500 starting first baseman for the Angels, hitting extremely well since getting called up homered in back-to-back games. He's a value, so you'll get some Angels value against Marquez, whose ERA is over 7 at home this year compared to 2.8 on the road. So you can attack that. And then the Rockies are very, very live against a very bad Griffin Canyon.
David Dahl is just 2.8 over on DK, but the rest of these guys, Story's 5.8, Blackman's 5.8, Arenado's 5.6. It's a tough one, man. It's very tough.
All the outfielders in Colorado are very affordable, though, outside of Blackman.
True.
They're
Kevin
all
Pillar's
like
at
3,700 and below, give or take.
Yeah, Tapia's 3.7. So is that the approach on DKs? Go with the cheaper outfielders there, and then you can go with the big boys over on FanDuel?
It's either that or on DK, you could go get your Story and Blackman if you want, and then go with the outside of Trout. Upton's $2,900. He's hitting phenomenal over the last week. I mentioned Walsh is 25. There's a ton of like Rendon's only 49, which is actually cheap for Coors. The Angels are very affordable on DraftKings for Coors Field.
All right, let's go to the Reds over here. Luis Castillo's at 9.1K over on FanDuel. On DK, Luis Castillo is 9.8. I'm kind of annoyed at the Reds right now. And with Winker banged up, I'm just going to sit this one out for the Reds. I'm not doing it. I would not get involved here with this one. Personally, it just does not seem like a good idea. They've been very inconsistent. Who is on the mound for the Cardinals? Is it still TBA, or do we actually have a guy here today?
The one, the only, Adam Wainwright takes the bump tonight.
Oh, okay. Even more of a reason to fade them then. Okay, so if Wainwright's going to be the guy in this game, then I'll sit this one out. Goldschmidt is at 5.6 over on DK, but on FanDuel, he's just 3.6. So there's your price variance of the day to take note of. It could be a good matchup. Castillo is a good pitcher, but hasn't necessarily had the season I think we're all hoping for. Any other things to contribute on this one before we move on to the last two games on the slate?
I'll just say Wainwright at $8,800 on DraftKings could be an SP2 in cash if you want, because his floor has been very stable this season.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think that's you know what, and the roster percentage will be low because people will see Castillo and they'll get a little afraid of. But Castillo has not been as good as he was last year, so I wouldn't worry.
Waino at home.
Right, exactly. All right, here we go. San Diego Padres. Garrett Richards at home, 7.4 against Johnny Cueto at 8K. That's the FanDuel pricing. On DK, you got 7.5 for Garrett Richards, 8K for Johnny Cueto. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but here we go. On DK, Brandon Belt, 3.3. Sure, why not? Why wouldn't you want to do that? The guy just keeps hitting. You got to pay up for Yastrzemski at 5.5, which you're not going to do tonight with Coors in play. But you've still got Brandon Belt in the middle of that order, very cheap. And, of course, on FanDuel, you can have everybody. Donovan Solano, 2.9. Dickerson, 2.9. Flores, 3.1. Belt, 3.1. Longoria, 2.8. I mean, I think these guys, until they stop, I'm just going to keep doing this.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Garrett Richards is not a great pitcher. He had flash in the pans. So I think it's another great low-priced, leverage, late-night Giants action again.
All right, and this last one I would love to get involved in, but I'm just kind of there's nothing appealing to me. Here's the thing. It's like the Mariners and the Diamondbacks, right? Caleb Smith and Yusei Kikuchi. Now, I don't know if they're going to get Caleb Smith right in this first start or not. Like, I don't pretend to know that, nor do I want to put my money there, Bubba. I'm sure you don't either, correct?
Yeah, no, I'll be passing on Caleb Smith tonight.
Okay, so we're both passing there. But the rest of this, do you want to do the one-off on Kyle Lewis at 3.5? It seems a little expensive to me to figure this out. Eduardo Rodriguez, Escobar, I do not have any faith in. I don't know, man. Like, I'm looking at the names in these lineups, the Wyatt Mathesons and the Josh Roases and the, Evan Whites and this. I'm sorry. Like, I would love to attack this game. There's nothing more I'd like than to attack this game and get a lot of offense out of it with these two pitchers on the mound, but I just don't see it happening.
It's tough. Like, I'll say a couple things. Kikuchi at 62 on DK can be your punt pitcher. I don't hate that because the D-backs are that bad versus left-handed pitching. So that's an option if you want, but it's dicey. I'm not going to act like it's a sure thing. And on DK, it's a little more affordable with like Dylan Moore as a value and a couple other guys, Ty France as a value. But yeah, it's tough to want to go all in on this game with Coors and a couple other spots we already hit on tonight, where if this was like a 6-game slate, we'd probably be all in.
Yeah, it's tough. So what would you do in a single pitcher scenario? Because it is tough to work in the bats you want on the FanDuel side and the single pitcher and get a good pitcher tonight. So is this a night where you fade the Coors game in favor of the pitching, or is it Brandon Woodruff or somebody like that? Or, is there another pitcher, to put in that mix in order to get those big bats and Coors like Rendon and Trout and the obviously guys on the Rockies?
I would go Giolito, and then there's a couple, either or Maeda, who's affordable, actually. You can go those two routes. and then just take a couple values. Like I'm going to keep harping on him, and if it doesn't work, so be it. But $2,500 for Jared Walsh, who's hitting like 4th or 5th in Coors Field, that'll open up a lot for you out the gate. There's a couple other values we've mentioned as well. If you don't want the big priced arms, I'd go Adam Wainwright. That'd be my guy.
All right. So it's that time, boys and girls. It's time to win some free stuff. Bubba and I are going to call our shot, and you can get involved too. Go follow us over at LineStar App over on Twitter, and you can win some free stuff. So give us your home run call, retweet this segment, and if you get it right, you get to win some swag. So, Bubba, who's leaving the yard tonight for you? Who is going to hit a home run?
Who is going to hit a home run? It's like hard not to go to Coors Field with these guys on the mound. So give me Trevor Story.
Trevor Story. There you have it. That's a good one. Trevor Story is always a good one. I'm going to go, let's go to Buffalo. Let's go to the other Coors. How about that? Let's do that, and let's go have some fun here. I know you got one yesterday with Michael Conforto. Let's go with Pete Alonso going yard tonight, the big boy going yard in Buffalo. So there you have it. Those are our 2 home run calls. Go to LineStar App. Follow us at LineStar App over on Twitter and LineStar App MLB, and go get that LineStar App while you're at it and upgrade to the premium product. That way you can get ready with the greatest tools site in DFS history, and you can start playing NFL, MLB, DFS, and a whole lot more. So that'll do it for us. I want to remind everybody, the wagering show comes out today. The DFS NFL show came out yesterday. All the tweets will be going out there. Follow me at Joe Pisapia to get them all, to get all those links so you know where to find the show. But look, we're here. We got baseball. We got football. It's going to be a great weekend. Enjoy it. It's also September 11th, so take a moment to be grateful for what you have. I am the son of a 9/11 survivor, and my dad, 19 years later, is still kicking around somehow. He is a tough old sod, let me tell you that, guy. So I am very happy and very lucky, and I'm aware of that, and we're all lucky, too, to live in the country we do. And let's remember those times on September 12th when we were all very much together, and I think that's a good thing to remember. So remember the 12th and the 11th, and enjoy this weekend of sports and family and fun. And for all of you parents out there working with your children virtually homeschooling, I feel you. Have a second drink on me. Okay, so that'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. There's nothing left to do now except step out of the on-deck circle and into the batter's box and go yard. We'll see you next time, kids.
You've been listening to the DFS On Deck podcast, brought to you by LineStar. Hit subscribe, tell a friend, and stay tuned for the next episode from fantasy baseball experts Joe Pisapia and KC Bubba.